Welcome to Bollywood Recaps. Today in this video, I am going to explain an Indian thriller film called Karthik Calling Karthik, where a shy loser starts getting phone calls from a stranger who sounds exactly like him and promises to change his life. Watch out for spoilers ahead. The story revolves around an introverted man named Karthik. He is shown to be a quiet and simple individual who feels trapped in his average job at a construction company. At his company, he is overworked and presumably underpaid. His boss is an ill-tempered person lording over his construction company. In his quiet meekness, young Karthik finds a minute or two to glance at the hottest girl of his office called Shonali, who is completely unaware of his existence. It is clear that he is in love with her and has been writing her emails every day for the past 4 years, but he never got the courage to send them and saved them all in draft. Later in the movie, he is heartbroken after he learns that Shonali is dating one of his colleagues. After his work is finished, he gets ready to leave but is suddenly stopped by his boss to finish an urgent document for a client. Karthik is forced to stay late and finish the contract for the morning meeting. As soon as he reaches home and gets ready for bed, the boss calls and complains that he was supposed to complete 2 contracts instead of 1. Karthik denies but is ordered to come back to the office and finish the second contract. Karthik gets very angry and throws the phone away and goes back to the office to finish the work on time. On his way back from the office, he buys a new advanced phone from the shop because he broke his older phone yesterday. In a flashback while talking to the psychiatrist, it is shown that Karthik had an older brother that used to bully him every day, but whenever he complained to his parents, they never believed him. He died accidentally by falling into a well in front of Karthik, who blames himself and feels guilty for his death. After talking to his psychiatrist, Karthik decides to confront his boss about his mistake for only mentioning 1 contract instead of 2. The egoistic boss denies his mistake and humiliates Karthik by firing him in front of the whole office. Fired from work with no friends either, a depressed Karthik stays locked in his home for multiple days and starts to overthink his life. He tries to commit suicide by consuming sleeping pills. Just as he is about to quit on himself, a phone call saves him. A stranger with the same exact voice as his calls and says that he is also Karthik. The man on the phone convinces him that he has the ability to change his life. He verifies his identity by sharing deeply private secrets that only Karthik knows about himself. The stranger tells Karthik to never reveal this secret to anyone as they would never understand and would think that he is crazy. Karthik, still confused, decides to go to the telephone exchange to get information of the man on the phone call, but finds out that there is no record of any call on his number yesterday. Slowly, he becomes addicted to talking on the phone every day. The Karthik on the phone starts calling every morning at 5 AM and after getting his namesake's trust, schools him in standing up for himself and showing more confidence. Karthik accepts the phone in his life and soon it becomes his guide, his mentor, and a guardian. The next day, Karthik shocks everyone when he enters his old office with a new look and attitude. He directly approaches the boss's office and proves his worth as an employee. He demands the boss to give him a promotion with a separate cabin and amenities. He later blackmails Shonali's boyfriend, who is secretly married, to tell the truth and break up with her. She is devastated upon discovering the truth. Shonali looks sad most of the time, and upon witnessing that, the new confident Karthik starts talking to her and slowly develops a relationship as they spend time together. Just like that, Karthik's life is going very happily now. One day while Shonali is in the house, the phone rings. He tells her about the phone call, but Shonali is shocked and does not believe him. She tells him to see a doctor. After some arguments, Karthik decides to meet with his psychiatrist, and it turns out that even she does not believe him and tells him that she will come to his house at 5 AM to verify herself. The next day, the psychiatrist comes to his house and the phone rings in front of her at the usual time. Karthik gives the phone to his doctor and she also hears the voice of the man on the phone. She gets shocked as the voice on the phone threatens her family and she runs away from the house. When Karthik tells these things to Shonali, she doesn't accept it and decides to visit his house at the time of the call. When the phone rings, Shonali prevents Karthik from attending the call that day and leaves after being frightened. The next day, Karthik eagerly waits for the call. The man on the phone tells him that he had broken the relationship by revealing their secret and decides to take revenge on him. When Karthik goes to the office the next day, he learns that someone called his boss and threatened his family. Karthik says he did not make the call, but the boss does not believe him and fires him. On the way out, he meets Shonali, who also received a threatening call from Karthik. He tells her the same thing about not making the call, but she doesn't believe him. Afterwards, when he tries out his debit card, he finds out that all his money has been transferred from his account and his new balance is zero. Karthik realizes what the man on the phone said has turned true. He took revenge and made Karthik lose everything in one day just for betraying him. Karthik gets some money from a pawn shop by selling his valuable possessions. He asks a person to buy a train ticket and requests to keep it a secret from him. He wears dark glasses and earphones and with the help of strangers get off the train to an unknown location. He later takes shelter into a hotel which doesn't have a phone. As there's no way for the man on the phone to know his location, Karthik continues to live there. After a few months, Karthik is comfortably living in Cochin with a decent job. His life is back to normal except for the fact that he refuses to have a phone line. Upon his boss's request, he is forced to purchase a landline. He goes to great lengths to ensure that he himself is unaware of the phone number. On the first day of owning a phone, he doesn't get a phone call, and excitingly he sends an email to Shonali about his recovery and prepares to come see her. However, the next day at exactly 5 a.m., he receives a call from the mysterious caller who threatens to kill him now. It is later revealed that the strange caller was Karthik himself. Karthik's phone has the capacity to record messages and act as a playback feature at a certain time. Karthik would wake up in the middle of the night, leave himself messages as his alter ego, and return to sleep, where he would awake once again at 5 a.m. to take his own calls. Meanwhile, Shonali is contacted by the psychiatrist, who reveals the twist that Karthik actually suffers from schizophrenia, a mental disorder characterized by abnormal social behavior and failure to understand reality. He has an alter ego that is more assertive and advises him how to live his life. He has been dealing with this condition from a young age when he created a fake brother with his imagination. Eventually, Karthik becomes so disturbed that he attempts to commit suicide again. Shonali, upon realizing the truth, arrives at the right time to save him. They reconcile and she stands by him, helping him with his condition. At the end of the movie, it is revealed that after a few months, Karthik is in the process of dealing with his disorder and lives a happy and rehabilitated life with Shonali by his side. The end.